welcome to Coach's Corner once again. My name's Andy Bortz. It's our 4th episode of the 2008 football season, and as usual, I'm joined by the guy that leads the Titans, Coach Jeff Hand. Coach, glad to have you back on the show with us this week.
Well, thanks for having me once again.
Well, let's talk about, before we watch the highlights, let's talk about this road trip to Thomas More. Is every trip that's as long as this a learning experience for you guys? Because it seems like when you take a road trip, it's one of those times where you can really test your offense and defense and even bond as a team.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a learning experience as much as it is a step in the maturation process of any team.
Well, we're going to see what the Titans did in the first half at the new field in Thomas More, Kentucky. Let's take a look. It was homecoming weekend for the Thomas More Saints, and what better way to celebrate it than on a brand new field. Citizens Bank Park opening to the Titans, and boy did the Saints get on a roll early. Trevor Stellman completes this pass to Cordario Collier for 31 yards to the 16-yard line. So a quick first down for Thomas More. And we talked about production from John Gubish, one of the leaders in the pack in all-purpose yards, and here he is getting some more. A 24-yard return off this Aaron Walter kickoff, setting the Titans up in pretty good field position. Now let's see what they can do with it. Kevin Franz passing the ball to Chad Rossitelli for 10 yards. Gets shoved out of bounds by Josh Schmitz. Titans looking like they're in pretty good shape. Later in the drive, Titans from down at the 11-yard line. Kevin Franz with a perfect pass to Chad Rossitelli, 11 yards, the first touchdown score of the game. Titans up 7-3 at this point. And how about the Titans special teams this year? Craig Weghorst trying to punt the ball away, but it gets deflected just barely by Jake Brown. Ball only goes 23 yards. Titans in good shape, but Kevin Franz with his first major miscue of the day gets the pass intercepted by Martez Williams, returns the ball for about 4 yards before finally being stopped. So Thomas More now in good shape, and watch this pass from Trevor Stellman all the way to Nick Dew, one of the great receivers for the Saints, 28 yards. Later in the second quarter, Kevin Franz completes this pass to Nick McCloskey, 14 yards, and Kevin Franz starting to get his rhythm back. But once again, that kicking game for the Titans just so good this year. Fred Romeo delivering from 30 yards. It's good. And Trevor Stellman in his next drive. Fumble! Neil Falco forcing the ball out, and he gets the fumble recovery as well. But the Titans went 3 and out on their next drive, so that means Thomas More with the ball again. Trevor Stellman completes this pass to guess who? Nick Dew, 12 yards to the 35-yard line. And then Stellman once again finds Nick Dew for 7 yards. He gets shoved out of bounds, and they're trying to put some last-minute points on the board, but no way, Jose, says Andrew Robinson. The big sack on Trevor Stellman to end the half, and that's how you go into the locker room. All square, just like at St. Vincent the previous week. 10s across the board. Now, Coach, watching that first half, it seemed like the Titans came out with a lot of energy, and it seems to be a challenge when you're traveling on the road. How do you keep a team energized after such a long road trip?
Well, I think that part of it is, just their mentality and them having the focus that they need to go down there with the opportunity to take something from somebody and to have a great game and to play as a football team. And so you really have to credit the guys with that.
Thomas More coming into the game, pretty good record against you guys, and then, they're atop the pack standings right now. What did you really have to prepare for most with this Thomas More squad when you got into that new park?
Well, we knew they were going to be a fairly balanced team. They are quite explosive at the running back position, and we know we had to defend their run game really well. But we also know that Stellman is a great quarterback, and he was a great quarterback 2 years ago as well.
Now, this game kind of looked like the St. Vincent game in a sense, because it seemed like the momentum in the first half was seesawing, and then both teams come out with 10 points apiece. What really worked for the Titans offensively first half to get the momentum going their way at some points?
Well, in the first half, offensively, we were able to take what they were giving us. We were able to take some nice short passes, get some nice runs, take our chances with the ball down the field, and that's what our offense does best, is when we're able to use the entire offense.
Let's talk about the passing game real quick. We talked to Chad Rossitelli last week a lot about chemistry, especially with the quarterback. How much of chemistry development is on the coaching side, and how much of it is on the player-quarterback side?
Well, I think a lot of it is on the the player-to-player coordination, them being on the same page, and just having great communication in the huddle, great communication as far as if we adjust any plays at the line of scrimmage and adjust any routes. And I think that our receivers are maturing each and every day, along those lines, as well as our quarterback.
And we saw Chad Rossitelli catch 10 passes in that game, just came up a few catches short of setting a record in that game. But it seemed like also in the first half it was tough to get the running game going. How much did that affect your offensive strategies?
Well, yeah, that's definitely something that, is a key part of any offense, is the running game. And it was, sputtering, and it pretty much sputtered all day. But we were able to get a run here or there and be able to keep them off balance with the run game. Where in the second half, once you get into a situation where you're down a few scores, it's very hard to have such a balanced attack.
Is there any concern about consistency in the running game in the coming weeks, Coach?
Well, I think you always have concerns, and and it's things that you have to correct. And there's things that we have to take care of, from an assignment standpoint, from a situation of being able to play well consistently.
Now, Nick Dew for the Thomas More Saints seemed to be giving the defense some kind of major struggle. How do you defend against a good receiver like that? Was it just a lack of defense, or was it just a good receiver?
Well, I think if you really break it down, play by play, and that's really what you have to do. Is one of the plays is defensively we had poor communication on a coverage, and and it was a 31-yard completion, and on the other one it was just plainly. We weren't aware of a down and distance, and it's being aware of where we are on the field and being aware of a down and distance, and understanding what an offense tries to do.
Okay, Coach. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the second half of the Thomas More game. Take a look. Couldn't have asked for a more exciting first half. The Titans keeping it interesting, all 10s across the board. And now it's time for the second half. Trevor Young kicks the ball off, but watch Kendall Owens of Thomas More doing some damage in the return game. 46 yards, returns the ball into Westminster territory at the 44, had to get tackled by the kicker. And Owens, not only doing damage in the return game, but also on the ground, runs into the end zone from 16 yards out. Justin Zink's extra point puts Thomas More up 17-10. Now it's time for Kevin Franz and the offense to get back on the field. He completes this pass to John Gubish, 20-yard completion, gets the Titans to the 39-yard line. And then Kevin Franz trying to get the teams to tie up once again, but the pass is intercepted in the end zone by Aaron Monk, and that proved to be the pivotal play of the game, because watch what Thomas More does on their first play from scrimmage. 63-yard run by Anthony Knott. He just would not stop running, and he was all the way down into Titan territory, ended up at the 17-yard line. That set up Trevor Stellman's quarterback sneak into the end zone from 2 yards out. Anthony Knott for Thomas More runs for 12 yards here, gets all the way down to the Westminster 41. And then Trevor Stellman once again doing his job in the air, completing his pass to Nick Olthaus for 16 yards. And it sets up another Trevor Stellman touchdown pass once again to Nick Dew. 7 yards, and the Thomas More Saints were just on fire at this point, up 31-10. And the Titans late in the fourth quarter trying to put some extra points on the board. You see Kevin Franz completing this pass to John Bomber, one of the sensational sophomore receivers, for 12 yards. And then Kevin Franz completes this pass to John Gubish, but the ball's fumbled away, and that pretty much closed the book on this deal. The Titans lose a tough one in Thomas More, 31-10. Now, Coach, watching the second half of this game, it seemed like when the interception was thrown by Kevin Franz in the end zone, it just seemed like that was the pivotal point of the game. What was the emotion like with the team after that happened?
Well, I think at that point in time, I mean, if you're Thomas More, you're thinking, wow, this can be a turning point, and they really, they got motivated at that point, and they pressed on the gas pedal and got the job done. And we didn't press on the gas pedal at that point. When adversity happens like that, we have to press on the gas pedal, and we have to get that momentum back in our direction. And really, at that point in time, we almost put on some brakes, and it was a kind of a feel of, okay, well, I might make a mistake. I might make a mistake and make it worse. And at that point, if you're tentative, we did make it worse.
And even though they got behind at that point, it seemed like when they came out of the locker room, they came out with the same intensity that they did in the first half, and they were about ready to answer with a score of their own. Did you like the energy that they came out with, talking about your Titans?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that energy is very exciting. I mean, that's something that's you have to commend everybody on, is knowing that you have to answer, and there's always those answers. Any game is a series of momentum shifts back and forth, and the momentum shifted. They were able to get into the end zone. We made them work for it, but they were able to get into the end zone, and then we were working for our answer, and then we had a miscue, and then we didn't really have to make them work too hard on that score after that.
You were talking about swings and momentum, Coach. I know that when the Titans, like I said, came out of the locker room, they tried to get momentum back on their side, but it's really neat when they come out in the second half and put up that same amount of effort. How do you keep a team motivated when that momentum starts to swing the other way?
Well, I think that that has to be an internal thing. That has to be something that comes from within as a competitor, as an individual. And, and if everybody has that competitive edge, then good things are going to happen. And it's also believing in one another, and believing that, the guy next to you is fighting just as hard as you're fighting.
Well, let's talk about your kicking game. It seems like it's really improved, and it's improving week to week. You've got great punting from Andrew Clark. You've got great kicking from Fred Romeo, kicking the field goals and the extra points. Does that add an extra dimension to the game now for you guys?
Well, it's always, a part of our game. I mean, that's something that you have to be, you have to have a consistent punter, and I think we have the makings of a very, very good punter. And he's just a freshman and a kicker. Freddie just keeps getting better and better, and his consistency keeps getting better each week. But the key is knowing their limits too, and putting them in positions that they're going to be successful as well.
Now, if Kevin Franz did not throw that pass in the end zone, do you think it would have been an entirely different story today?
I don't know. I mean, that's something that, we'll never know. I think that we have to always, we have to always learn from every situation, and we have to learn from that one.
Okay, Coach, well, we'll have you on a little bit later in the show to talk about the upcoming Teal game. Your Pack Report's coming up next. Stay tuned. You're watching Coach's Corner. Ready to get your broadcasting career off and rolling? Then it's time to explore your options by being a part of Titan Radio at Westminster College.
We try to run the radio station as closely as what might be found in the real world.
There's student anchors, student reporters, student producers.
It's really hands-on, and you learn a lot your first year.
From keeping the community informed,
I'm Pamela Marlowe with the Titan Radio News Update,
to keeping the community entertained.
Maroon 5, going out on tour again.
You'll get all the radio experience you could ask for, and more, only at Westminster College.
If we can't beat the competition's price, we'll just give you the car.
But a vehicle is more than price.
A whole lot more.
Gio Crivelli consistently invests in manpower, training, and equipment to deliver car buyers peace of mind.
From our state-of-the-art repair and service garage to our award-winning auto body repair center, Gio Crivelli is prepared to earn your trust.
Gas, stingy, and pallor to rugged Silverado, Gio Crivelli Chevrolet, Route 18, Newcastle.
And remember, if we can't beat the competition's price, we'll just give you the car.
Good evening, Pack football fans. I'm Christina Rosetta with another edition of this week's Pack Report. This week brought out some highs and some lows for the teams in the Pack. Number 11 W&J continued their Pack dominance and undefeated streak with a convincing win over Grove City, 49-21. The victory marked the 10th straight over the Wolverines by W&J and the 19th consecutive Pack win. The Presidents ran away with the game by posting a 28-0 score in the second quarter and allowing only 12 rushing yards by Grove City. W&J capitalized right off the bat on a Jacob Bloomhuff recovery off of an Andrew DiDonato fumble, which resulted in a Kurt Jones 6-yard touchdown run 3 plays later to put the Presidents up 7-0. Following a Grove City punt, W&J quarterback Bobby Swallow and his offense went to work to rack up yet another touchdown. This one a 17-yard pass to wideout Craig Bisong to notch a 14-0 lead. Swallow and Bisong connected once again on an 11-yard touchdown pass late in the first quarter to give the Presidents 21. Kurt Jones tacked on another TD 3 plays later into the second quarter to put 28 on the board for W&J, but Grove City would put up a fight in the second quarter, posting a TD on an 11-yard touchdown from the arm of Andrew DiDonato, putting the Wolverines on the board going into halftime. The opening of the third quarter brought another Grove City score from DiDonato to wideout Stephen Mercer to give the Wolverines 14. W&J answered, though, on a Bobby Swallow touchdown to David Revita from 3 yards out, but the Wolverines came right back with another Stephen Mercer touchdown to put the Wolverines within 2 scores. After a crazy next few possessions in which W&J fumbled twice and DiDonato threw 2 interceptions, the Presidents finally took control of the game, scoring 2 touchdowns late in the fourth. Kurt Jones led the way for the undefeated Presidents with 80 yards and 3 touchdowns. DiDonato led the Wolverines, now 2-2 overall and 1-1 in the pack, by setting the single-game record for pass completions at 31 and pass attempts at 56, while totaling 273 yards and 3 touchdowns. W&J will travel to Geneva for the first time since 1985 for a 7 p.m. game, while Grove City will head to Latrobe to take on St. Vincent on Saturday. Waynesburg overcame an early deficit against St. Vincent to secure a 21-12 win on Saturday. The Bearcats jumped out to an early lead in the first quarter when running back Jarius Marlowe sprinted 93 yards for the touchdown. The Jackets responded just 26 seconds into the second quarter with a 1-yard touchdown by Billy Becker after a 53-yard drive downfield. The remainder of the quarter proved to be a defensive battle for both teams, but Waynesburg was able to break the 7-all tie in the final minutes of the second on a David Yunkins 1-yard TD run. From there, the Jackets never looked back, connecting on a Brad Dawson 30-yard touchdown pass to Ray Hightower. St. Vincent was able to nail a 22-yard field goal off the leg of Aaron Jones to force a safety in the final minutes of the fourth quarter, but it could not lift the Bearcats above Waynesburg as the Jackets came away with the victory. St. Vincent was led by Jarius Marlowe's 1 touchdown and 89-yard performance, while Jacket wideout Ray Hightower led the way with 101 yards and 1 touchdown. St. Vincent, now 1-3 overall, will host Grove City on Saturday, while Waynesburg has a bye week before heading down the road to face your Westminster Titans on October 11th. After a bye week to regroup from an 0-2 start, Geneva was finally able to get back on track in their pack opener with a 31-17 win over Teal. After a defensive battle that dominated the first quarter, Geneva drew first blood at the beginning of the second with a 1-yard touchdown run by David Gerard. Geneva extended the lead to 14-0 on the next possession, but Teal wasn't done yet. They responded with a 30-yard John Madeline field goal, then blocked a Geneva punt, resulting in a 32-yard run by Brian Villegas with 17 seconds left for the touchdown to put Teal down by 4 going into halftime. Geneva then controlled the ball for the second half, scoring on a pair of touchdown runs by Matt Dean and a 34-yard field goal from Nick DiPietro to cap off the remainder of the Golden Tornadoes scoring for the day. Teal would attempt one more comeback on the day with a 53-yard drive off of a Matt Joy interception, which set up a 9-yard toss from QB Willie Bova to fullback Jeremiah Wagner, but it proved to not be enough for the Tomcats. Geneva's run game was lethal on the day, tallying 231 yards, and was led by Gerard Machette's 126 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. Teal, now 0-4 for the first time since 1995, was led by quarterback Willie Bova with 134 yards and 1 touchdown. The Tomcats will head down 79 this week to take on Westminster, your Titans. Kickoff from Bury Stadium is at 1:30 p.m. And now for the NFL Pick'em Challenge. Coach Hand, Andy, and myself gave our picks for the Steelers' overtime thriller over the Ravens, Tampa Bay's emotional win over the Green Bay Packers, Cleveland's victory over the now winless Bengals, and Chicago's rousing win over the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's the standings. Coach Hand got half of his picks and is now at 4 out of a possible 7. Andy is officially on the board now with 1, and I sit comfortably at 3. That's it for this week's Pack Report. I'm Christina Rossetto. Be sure to stay tuned after Coach's Corner for the County Line to get your latest updates in Titan and local high school sports action. But don't go anywhere. More Coach's Corner is on the way.
Broadcast a big game just like the pros at ESPN? If so, the Broadcast Communications Department at Westminster College is where you need to be. At Westminster, you learn what it takes to be live out in the field. Westminster lets you learn all aspects, from behind the scenes in the truck, directing and running instant replay, to filming the action with a camera or announcing play-by-play. So if you want hands-on, live experience, check out the Broadcast Communications major at Westminster College. For more information, visit us online at titanradio.net.
So you're a huge Western Pennsylvania football fan? Then ncnewsonline.com is for you. Crunch is an award-winning internet site of the Newcastle News devoted to area high school football, where you'll get a daily fix of schedule, scores, rosters, highlights, opinion, and player profiles, plus video and photo galleries. Online at ncnewsonline.com. It's football coverage as it happens, designed for you, the dedicated fan. Crunch online at ncnewsonline.com.
Welcome back to Coach's Corner, everyone. I'm Andy Bortz, one of my favorite segments of the show where we interview a player from your Titan squad. And no coincidence that we have another Andy on this set. Andrew Robinson, we're our number 40, on the defensive lineman. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Thanks for having me.
It's one of those things where it's fascinating watching you play on defense because you're always in the backfield. What's your secret?
There's no real secret. The only thing I can really say is practice with my defensive line coach, Mike Donato. He always says, play relentless, and I just getting in your head that you can beat the guy across from you is the only thing I can tell you.
And that's one of the things you must have learned is, growing as a player. What else have you learned as far as maturing for the years that you've played here that you can take away with you?
That I could take away
Sure.
from me?
Exactly.
Hard working, never giving up is usually the key to success.
Well, talk about your role on the team, because you basically set a pretty nice standard for everybody, especially on that line with all the sacks that you've had throughout your career. You had 3 in the last 2 games. What kind of role do you take into account when you're on the team?
My main role is to be a defensive end for the defense. That's what I have to concentrate on, but I'm also a captain, so there's a leadership role that me and 4 other guys kind of fill up, and those are the 2 main roles, but the main one is being a defensive end, making sure getting things done on the defense.
Let's talk about the challenge of playing away from the home field. Is it really a big difference when you're playing on a different field that's so far away from the home field to you guys? Is it really one of those things that you think about during the game?
No. It's obviously a challenge getting there, and all the distractions in between the bus ride and the stand, going to and from everywhere. But once you get on the field, you got one mission, and that's all I worry about. I hope no one else worries about it.
Talk about your missions for the season, because we've interviewed players on the show before, and they've all said, we want that PAC championship. Do you share that same outlook? And what are your personal goals as well?
Absolutely, the PAC championship is what's on our minds, and personal goal is just making sure I'm a big part of getting to that mission, making sure that's what we do.
Do you see the defense improving game to game because you guys are making lots of plays and you guys are helping each other out, communicating on the field? Are you seeing this defense getting stronger every game?
From the beginning of the season with that 62 loss to Heidelberg, there's definitely been a lot of improvements. As far as a progression thing, I see, sometimes it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But I think we're definitely making strides as to what we need to do to get better.
What's the biggest thing that you think you could improve on as a defensive squad? There's a ton of thoughts running through your mind, huh?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you one thing that we could do, but there's obviously a bunch of improvements that we could do.
It's good to know that it's getting better, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what does the future hold for Andrew Robinson when he graduates?
Graduation is the first thing that I got to worry about in my future, and then I couldn't tell you, finding a job and hopefully my major business. So
Great.
We'll see.
Andrew, appreciate you coming on the show, and thanks for stopping by.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
We're going to have Coach Hand come back and give you a preview of the Teal game coming up in just a couple of days. Don't go away. You're watching Coach's Corner.
Know everyone's name.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
At Westminster College, our students aren't just another face in a lecture hall of 200. They're people, individuals with a smile and a story eager to know you.
So the other day I was sitting around...
Learn the skills you need while having a close relationship with your teachers and classmates at Westminster. So if you too want to be known by name, check out Westminster on the web at westminster.edu.
Welcome back to Coach's Corner. We've got Coach Jeff Hand back on the hot seat, going to give us a little preview of what's going to happen against Teal this weekend. Coach, Kevin Franz setting in on a nice little record for a number of completions in a Titan uniform. Does that bring a good excitement level to the game?
Well, I think that, there's always excitement to end game. I think that those things, those are bonuses, and those are things that we don't really focus on as a team. And those are nice, and they'll come, and that's just one step in the progression of the program.
Is it nice to know that you're coming into this game undefeated on the home turf? Does that kind of wash away some of the moments on the road that would happen this year?
Well, we definitely like to wash away the moments on the road, but you always have confidence playing at home, and definitely having those victories on the new surface is for sure a good thing.
Now, Teal comes into this game winless, but they've kept every one of the games they've been in close. So what's the strategy coming into this game if it's going to be another nail-biter?
Well, I know that Teal is a good football team. We respect them immensely as far as their talent level, and they're a very fundamentally sound team, offensively, defensively, and special teams. And we know that they've played some pretty good people, too.
Is it nice to know that some of these games being decided by a field goal in Teal's case, is it nice to know that Fred Romeo could possibly be the difference maker in this game?
It's always nice, and I think we always have that in our back pocket. We don't go into the game thinking that this is going to be come down to a field goal at the end, but knowing that if we're put in that situation, that we have someone that's confident and able to do that, that's a positive.
All right, Coach. Well, it was a pleasure to have you on the show once again, and wish you lots of luck against Teal.
Well, thank you, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much. That's another episode of Coach's Corner for you. Stay tuned. The County Line is coming up next. Have a good day.
The consumer asset-backed securities market is a source of liquidity to financial institutions that provide federally guaranteed small business loans and consumer lending such as auto loans, student loans, and credit cards. Issuance of ABS in these areas reached $240 billion in 2007, but credit market stresses led to a steep decline in the third quarter of 2008, and the market essentially came to a halt in October. As a result, millions of Americans cannot find affordable financing for their basic credit needs. And credit card rates are climbing, making it more expensive for families to finance everyday purchases. This lack of affordable consumer credit undermines consumer spending and, as a result, weakens our economy. To address this need and support the return of consumer lending, the Treasury will provide $20 billion of credit protection to the Federal Reserve in connection with its $200 billion term asset-backed securities loan facility. By providing liquidity to issuers of consumer asset-backed paper, the Federal Reserve Facility will enable a broad range of institutions to step up their lending, enabling borrowers to have access to lower-cost consumer finance and small business loans.
All right, Treasury Secretary Paulson addressing the big question that's been out there since the $700 billion bailout plan came out is, how are you going to help Main Street? How are you going to help people who have credit card problems or mortgage loan problems? He is addressing that right there. And, of course, some criticism came out after Citibank got $20 billion yesterday. They're saying, why Citibank and why not GM? So he'll be addressing some of those issues. Certainly we'll be listening to let you know. Treasury Secretary Paulson, certainly one part of the economic team that Bush has had over recent years. But what about President-elect Obama's team? What do they have to work on? Well, one of the first things is to work on his massive new stimulus package. And some Democrats estimate it could cost up to $700 billion. Obama himself, though, has not tied down a specific price tag to this stimulus package as of yet. But he does warn it's going to be costly, but would create along the way 2.5 million jobs by 2011. Workers would rebuild the nation's roads and bridges, modernize schools, and create alternative energy sources. Several key Republicans commenting early on this signal, though, they will not just rubber stamp Obama's plan. Okay, you know, before you go shopping with your kids' holiday wish list this season, you want to hear this. A public interest group is releasing its annual report on toy safety. They're just getting ready to start talking into those microphones. But let's go to our money expert, Jen Westhoven, who is all over this. Jen, what can parents expect to learn from what we're about to hear here?
Hi, well, we'll find out if your kids' toys are safe, as Perg talks about toy safety later today. We'll find out if what they say matches what the federal government has said. The CPSC, Consumer Product Safety Commission, has said the toys are safer than ever this year with XRF guns to catch lead, and inspectors at the ports. Toy recalls are down 46% this year compared to last year when we had that barrage of headlines. Lots of recalls last year, but there are still plenty of hazards like scooters, riding toys, small balls and other little parts, balloons, magnets, chargers, and adapters. Richard.
And Jen, does this really drive sort of what people go out and buy when this report comes out? Is this a big indicator that, I know you always report it and watch it very carefully for us.
I'm not really sure, Richard. I don't know that there's ever been a study that actually measured what they said in this compared to what the spending was, or if it changed people's minds. But I would imagine that after all those kids had problems with lead and magnets last year, that people tried to stay away from those products.
Quickly, we forgot about that, believe it or not, based on what the current economic situation is. Jen Westhoven, thank you so much, and she'll be back a little bit later with more for us. We're also, of course, watching the markets. Can we make it a three-peat? Can we have 3 days of the Dow going big up in green? We're up 144, but of course, Jen Westhoven always tells us, Richard, we're only 30 minutes into trading, but it certainly does look good right now, and we'll tell you why throughout the hour. You know, when the big 3 automakers asked the government for help last week, they argued that the safety of their cars had vastly improved. We'll see how they rank on the insurance industry's list.
Oh, no. Can't find your phone in that cluttered handbag? Searching for those house keys again. Do you have to dig and dump to find what you're looking for? Then you need the over-the-shoulder expandable organizer from Buxton, makers of fine leather goods since 1898. It's the biggest little bag ever that holds it all and keeps it organized so you find what you need in a flash. Crafted of supple, genuine leather, the Buxton organizer has this outer pouch for your phone. You'll never miss a call again.
Hello?
Don't lug around a heavy tote. Watch as the Buxton organizer turns this jumbled mess into an organized success. And it's expandable. Store 2 regular-size water bottles and an umbrella. Amazing. With the Buxton organizer, your hands free, making travel a breeze and shopping a pleasure. Look, a regular handbag can get stolen, but with Buxton Organizer's adjustable shoulder strap, it's always secure. There's a special wallet compartment for easy reach and handy slots for your credit cards. You'll be so organized, you can even find what you need with a blindfold. You could pay over $100 for a similar designer bag. Call now and get the Buxton Over-the-Shoulder Organizer in genuine leather for only $19.95. There's more. We'll also send you the digital message reminder, the compact recorder that records without tape.
Butter, milk, eggs.
Then remind you later.
Butter,
milk, eggs.
It's perfect for directions, at work, even the parking lot. Yours free, just pay processing and handling. And ask about the Buxton Organizer in these fashion colors. Get the Buxton Expandable Organizer and the digital message reminder, all for only $19.95. Call now.
To order your Buxton over-the-shoulder bag, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-672-6017. That's 1-800-672-6017. Order now and get the digital message reminder free. Just pay processing and handling. Call 1-800-672-6017. That's 1-800-672-6017.
Okay, it's not only the West Coast that's seeing some questions about weather. We also have to go to the Northeast. There's that system Bob Van Dillen's been telling us about this week that used to be in the Midwest, right now kind of scooting towards the east.
Yeah, slow mover right now. The jet stream really essentially is down to the south, so it's not pushing it very far at all. So it's going to be a slow mover. Rain, snow, it's going to mount up heavy at times, especially across New England and interior sections of New York State. So here's the way it goes in a big picture. A lot of snow across central New York, back on in towards northern Vermont, New Hampshire, in towards Maine too. But you get across the coast, temperature's still on the warm side, and it's heavy rain from Boston all the way back down in towards Bridgeport. Getting a little bit of light rain around New York City, too. Take it live to the NYC cam because the fog is in. At a half-mile visibility out in the harbor right now. Rain in and out for the morning, then breezy conditions later this afternoon. But the heart of the heavy rain back to the maps is right near Boston. And that stretches all the way in towards the Cape, getting through Nantucket, and lots of rain around Rhode Island and eastern parts of Connecticut. So that's where the heavy stuff is with the rain. Snow-wise, it's going to be across the Adirondacks, down across the Catskills. You can see the winter storm warnings are out there. 8 to 16 a lake effect between Buffalo and Erie by this time tomorrow morning. More on that coming up, Richard, just about 15 minutes.
Bob, the producer was saying, was that Scooby-Doo in New York City?
It's the beginning of it, indeed, yeah. It's the beginning of that cartoon.
With that sound effect.
Yeah, we need it today. There it goes. Nice.
All right, thank you, Doctor. We'll see you a little bit.
You got it, buddy.
All right, anything for a sound effect here. 16 people are giving thanks to President Bush this holiday. He pardoned 14 yesterday and commuted the prison sentences of 2 others. One was rapper John Forte, who had a drug conviction. Otherwise, there were not any well-known names on that list. Overall, President Bush has granted 157 pardons and 6 commutations, far fewer than his predecessors. He can still grant more before he leaves office, though. For the first time since the Cold War, Russian warships are putting on a show of force in the Caribbean, and it is aimed at the United States. The Russian ships arrived off of Venezuela yesterday to conduct war games with the Venezuelan Navy. Venezuela's President Hugo Chavez is a fierce U.S. critic who's building closer ties with Russia. He's already spent billions buying fighter jets and other weapons from Moscow. In less than 2 hours, jury deliberations start in the trial of a woman accused of bullying a 13-year-old on MySpace. Prosecutors say Lori Drew conspired with her daughter to pose as a teenage boy who was interested in the girl. That girl later committed suicide after the boy ridiculed her online. And let's talk about Ford and its Volvo subsidiary, who are the best in protecting you in crashes. 16 of their vehicles in the 2009 model year made the insurance industry's safe car list. GM and Toyota each had 8 for their part. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety says Chrysler was the only major automaker that did not rank here. You can see the entire list at CNN.com/Robin. Okay, you know, just moments ago, we heard from Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson about a new plan that could help you get the loans that you need. In fact, he still talks at this moment. Money expert Jen Westhoven has been listening to this. What are you looking at? Jen Westhoven. Sorry, Jen.
That's okay. I'm just laughing because that was the first time I heard some of that music. So just in case you thought I was laughing at Hank Paulson. Yeah, this is another stab at helping the credit markets. This time, though, basically the Treasury is looking at consumer corporate debt, consumer credit markets, not corporate debt markets. So that's something that could be a help. They are looking at ways to help jumpstart car loans, student loans, and credit card debt. A lot of you are writing in and saying, "Rawr, you're angry," and you're saying, why should we do that? Why should we go back to the days where people get loans they can't handle? That is not what we're talking about. Things have actually gotten so bad that even people with excellent credit, some of you have even written in, have said that you can't get car loans except with very high, exorbitantly high interest rates. So we're not talking about getting deadbeats to get loans. We're talking about people who are really serious about getting a car, getting an affordable loan. The pendulum has swung so far that it's actually crimping regular business. So that's something that could be a help. The money for this is expected to come from the $700 billion bailout. That plan, plus another plan for toxic mortgages, is what's helping the stock market. So the Dow gaining again, even after that mammoth two-day rally, the biggest day in history. The Dow now up a little more than 100 points. That means it is up almost 1,000 points in 3 trading sessions. Wow. Let's talk about the job market, though, because that is a big deal that's going on. A cliche is, if you want a job and you don't have ties, head to the big city, New York, Chicago, LA, but you might be surprised to hear that some of the best spots to get a job, statistically, might surprise you. Look at this. Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Really?
Rapid City, South Dakota, yeah.
Wow.
And number 21 was Salt Lake City, Utah. If you want all the cities in between, go to our website, cnn.com/Robin. Go down to the important website. It's all the way at the bottom, last but not least.
So this generation will hear they will hear from their parents, don't go to the big city, go to the little city, I guess is what you're saying.
Could be, or go and, find the towns where there are jobs available.
All right, thanks, Jen. Talk to you in a little bit. All right, this video is really cool, but don't try this at home. A man shot himself across a 1,500-foot wide canyon, and nope, no parachute.
Philips Norelco Architect, the shaver with a flexible head that pivots and rotates freely. So now you can easily get a close shave, even on the neck.
It's time for a card that can help you grow your business without growing your debt. A card that can give you the working capital you need, interest-free. A card that can earn you rewards to reinvest in your business. It's time for a card that's not a credit card. Meet the American Express Open Charge Card. To get the purchasing power millions of owners already have in their wallets, call 1-800-NOW-OPEN. American Express Open, calling all business owners.
Effective immediately due to new airport security regulations, you don't have to take your laptop out of the bag if you have a turbo bag. Avoid hassles and prevent laptop damage or loss. Starting at $39.95. TurboBag.com makes a great gift too. TurboBag.com. TurboBag.com.
When fire or water damage strikes your business, call the cleanup team that's faster to any size disaster at 1-800-SERVPRO, like it never even happened.
Closed captioning hours provided by Passages Addiction Cure Center, Malibu, California.
To end your dependency on drugs, alcohol, or addictive prescription medications, read my book, The Alcoholism and Addiction Cure. To get it, call 888-THE-CURE.
All right, Detroit's new mayor is facing questions right now about possible perjury. His attorney says Mayor Ken Cockrell Jr. met with prosecutors yesterday. He signed a document saying he did not owe any campaign fines from previous elections, but he later paid fines. His predecessor, Kwame Kilpatrick, was jailed for obstruction of justice. All right, breaking news for you. Former NFL star Michael Vick has pleaded guilty to dogfighting charges in Virginia. We just got that in about 15 minutes ago. That could make him eligible for early release from federal prison. Right now, he's set to be released next July, and his lawyers hope the state judge will not require any more jail time. Vick hopes to be reinstated by the NFL. For a while, we'll see if that happens. Huh?
I have no doubt in my mind he'll be back in the NFL.
All right. He spoke. It was a shootout on Monday Night Football between the Saints and Packers. He speaks again, Ray Weigel.
Yeah, this was 80 points scored in this thing, Richard. That's like a point every single minute. Now, the Saints